Hello, my name is Marlon Blanco, and this is my lesson on language disorders. To start off, I want to ask you a question. Do you enjoy having a conversation with friends? Pictured here is a drawing my girlfriend helped me make showing friends talking at a coffee shop. Imagine if you could not come up with the right words, or even if you do not understand sarcasm. Well, millions of Americans have conditions just like that, and in many cases do not get the support that they need to make things equitable for them. Now, in this lesson, we will discuss language disorders, IDEA classifications, definition on language disorder separate from speech disorder, the characteristics and lived experiences of those with specific language impairments, along with their ADA considerations for IEP and 504 plans, possible causes and teaching strategies, and finally, some statistics and the lack of awareness of aphasia in relation to SLIs. I want to start off by going over how IDEA classifies a language disorder for a specific purpose. IDEA defines a speech or language impairment as a communication disorder such as stuttering, impaired articulation, language impairment, or voice impairment, which adversely affects the child's educational performance. Shown here is a character from a game who stutters.
You sent that cocky kid Nero to find Dante?
You question my command.
Yes! What shall befall me? Should he stumble upon my research facility?
Our priority is to capture Dante.
Why, you...
Stuttering is probably one of the first things people might think of when speech and language disorders comes up. And while there's a lot of overlap between a speech disability and a language disability, for the purposes of this lesson, I primarily want to focus on language disabilities. And so for that purpose, we're going to move on to the American Speech Language Hearing Association, who help us focus on language disabilities over speech, as they define both separately. The American Speech Language Hearing Association, or ASHA's vision statement is making effective communication a human right, accessible and achievable for all. So ASHA defines a language disorder as the impairment or deviant development of comprehension and or use of spoken, written, and or other symbols systems. This includes the form of language such as phonology, morphology, and syntax, the content of language or semantics, and the function of language in communication such as pragmatics and any combination. So in short, these language disorders occur when a person has trouble understanding others, which is receptive language, or when sharing thoughts, ideas, and feelings, which is expressive language. And so, to further elaborate on what these characteristics mean on someone's lived experience, phonological disorders are when someone outputs incomplete sounds or substitutes words, like hand instead of hand. Morphological disorders involve misuse morphemes. So, think I readed instead of I read, or mouses instead of mice. Syntactic disorder encompasses simple sentences when they should be able to produce more complex sentences. A semantic disorder entails someone having trouble retrieving the right words and having difficulty understanding context and may take things too literally. To help illustrate this issue, I have a video from a show called Insimple Rules that I want to present.
Bridget, I just wanted to wish you good luck on your cheerleading tryouts. Break a leg. That's just an expression. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So in this context, the father wished his daughter to break a leg, a common phrase for good luck, which said daughter took too literally. And lastly, pragmatic disorders affect the social aspect of conversation, where you might ask someone what their name is, and they respond by saying their favorite color is blue. Now, what causes these potential specific language impairments or SLIs? Like many things in life, it is a balance between nature, nurture, or a combination of both. For example, if someone in the family has a history of SLIs, then they are at an increased risk of suffering from this condition as well. Environmental factors can also play a role in SLIs, such as poverty, which also has risks of exhibiting SLI symptoms. Another aspect to consider for causes are secondary language impairments, as language disabilities can be the result of other underlying issues, such as autism, which can come with deficits in social interactions, or Down syndrome, which along with other intellectual disabilities can hinder language development. Now, if someone has an SLI or a secondary language impairment, along with the points brought forward under IDEA for IEP or 504 plans, the Americans with Disabilities, or ADA, states that students must be offered ways to communicate effectively. On top of communicating with students or individuals for goods or services, you must also communicate with their parents and companions when appropriate. And aids must be offered when necessary, especially in compliance with any IEP or 504 plans, such as assistive technology, companion adult aids, and speech and language services like speech language pathologists or SLPs. Beyond services the students might be provided with, some teaching strategies to consider when working with a student with a language disorder might involve modeling to help demonstrate how to properly pronounce words or structure sentences, guided practice, such as strategies like say it, build it, write it, and give appropriate feedback based on the circumstances while remembering to be patient. Peer interactions are also something to consider when teaching. Certain students can help each other, especially during group work if paired appropriately. Word games can help create active engagement in the classroom while helping with particular forms, structures, and vocabularies, such as the bingo game displayed here. Unlike speech disorders, language disorders might be harder to identify at a glance. Even so, approximately 5 million children in the United States have a language disorder. This is an average of 1 or 2 students in every classroom, yet only about 20 to 30% of students get the appropriate support that they need. Finally, I want to bring up a topic related to language disorders that goes unmentioned a lot, that I only discovered through my research, called aphasia. Aphasia is a language that manifests through brain damage, strokes, or traumatic brain injury. Although it is more common in adults than children, there are reports of professionals who are unprepared to deal with individuals with aphasia, as only 33% of people have ever heard of it, even though more than 2 million people suffer from it in the US alone. When it comes to language disorder, aphasia can affect syntactic or morphological issues. However, a study in 2025 shows that people suffering from aphasia struggle more with identity issues rather than their lack of receptive or expressive language challenges. So keep that in mind if you find yourself working with someone with aphasia. To learn more about language disorder, please use the resources listed here, including the previously mentioned ASHA, along with the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, and learn more about aphasia through the National Aphasia Association. I hope this lesson has helped distinguish what all is involved with a language disability. If you found this lesson useful, I want you to ask yourself, do I know what differentiates a language disorder from a speech disorder? If so, please be aware of the specific needs that come with it. My name is Marlon Blanco, and I hope you and your potential students find success. Thank you.